Welcome to the Footy Analyst. Today we are going to discuss about all the players of the all-conquering Liverpool football team in the Premier League season. In this season just been played. This season Liverpool have played fantastically well. They have won the league with still 7 games to go. That is amazing. That's the quickest that any team has won the Premier League. They have romped to the title, and they are one of the best Premier League teams in history. So let's see what their players are.
First, let's talk about the Brazilian number 1, Alisson Becker. He has been the number 1 for Liverpool since the last 2 years, and he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He's one of the main reasons for the solid defense that Liverpool have had from the weak defense that Klopp had at the start of his tenure at Liverpool. He replaced Loris Karius as the number 1 after coming on a world record fee. Even now, he's the world's second most expensive goalkeeper. He concedes only 0.64 goals per match this season and has made 2.3 saves per match. He has missed some games because of injuries at the start of the season when the backup Adrian covered for. Even though he has still got 13 clean sheets this season. He has a fantastic pass accuracy of 85% for a goalkeeper. He has played 674 passes, which is amazing for a goalkeeper. He's a fantastic super keeper as well. He keeps Ederson on the bench for Brazil. Now let's talk about the English Liverpool sensation Trent Alexander-Arnold. The 21-year-old who came from Liverpool's academy has shown that he is one of the most promising players in world football right now. He might be the best right back in the world already at age of 21. He is a fantastic attacking right back. He wins 63% of his tackles and has a pass accuracy of 76%. He used to play as midfielder in his academy days, and he is expected to even go on to be a fantastic midfielder from right back. But right now, from right back, he has been amazing in terms of the amount of creativity he gives for Jurgen Klopp's team. He has given 12 assists this season and has scored 3 goals. He has a pass accuracy of 76%, which is amazing for a right back. He continuously bombs forward. He has provided 215 crosses this season, which is a lot of crosses. He is the main source of creativity for his team. He is very important for Liverpool, and he is expected to be a club legend there, considering he came through the academy. Because of him, Nathaniel Klein hasn't even got a chance since then. Now let's talk about the best defender in the world, Virgil van Dijk. The best centre back in the world, in my opinion, might be Sergio Ramos' close, but still. He's clearly the best defender in the Premier League. His signing for £70 million has absolutely transformed Liverpool from a goal-conceding attacking team to the most complete team in the world right now. He only concedes 0.4 fouls per game, which is very small for a centre back. He wins 76% of his aerial duels, which is massive, and he's also a massive man, 6'4". He wins 55% of his tackles and has a pass accuracy of 90%. He has made 22 tackles this season. He has given 4 assists and has also scored 4 goals from his head, which is amazing for a centre back. He's a great asset even in the opposition box for scoring goals from corners and free kicks. He's a fantastic player. He's the captain for Liverpool. He's been the most important player for them. He has absolutely transformed the team after coming from Southampton. And he's the best centre back in the world, simply. He nearly won the Ballon d'Or even this season, only lying some votes behind Lionel Messi. Now let's talk about the Croatian centre-back Dejan Lovren, the self-proclaimed best defender in the world. He reached the final of the World Cup actually with Croatia, which is amazing. And in the World Cup, he said he's the best defender in the world. Well, that's not quite true. He concedes 0.5 balls per game. He has a tackle success rate of only 60%. His pass accuracy is okay at 83%. His aerial duel rate is also quite average, 64%.
the biggest problem for Dejan Lovren and throughout his Liverpool career is his mistakes. At Southampton, he was a very good centre back. He didn't make as many mistakes as he does right now. Right now, he's a person who is just a mistake waiting to happen. As soon as the ball comes to him, all the Liverpool fans just have their heart in their mouth that something's gonna happen. So that's why he's not played a lot of games. Klopp clearly doesn't trust him. I think next season he's gonna go from the club. He's already 31 and he does not deserve to be at Liverpool. Now let's talk about Joel Matip. Joel Matip was signed from Schalke by Liverpool on a free in 2014 when Jurgen Klopp came to Liverpool in 2015 might be. He's the best centre-back partner for Virgil van Dijk on the basis of his performances. He's big, he's strong, and under the leadership of Virgil van Dijk, he also performs really well. This season, he has only made 0.9 falls per game, which is quite low. He has a high tackle success rate of 70% and a good pass accuracy of 84%. He's not as good on the ball as Virgil van Dijk, but he's fantastic with his tackling and also his aerial win rate of 90%, which is amazing, more than Virgil van Dijk. This is why he's the best partner for Virgil van Dijk. Both of them together are a fantastic pairing. He has a good enough pass accuracy too for a team like Liverpool. With him and Virgil van Dijk together, it is very hard to score against him. But this season, because of injuries, he has not played as many games as he could. But next season, he is expected to play more because of that. Now let's talk about Andy Robertson. The Scottish left back is one of the best left backs in the Premier League and clearly and maybe even in the world, considering he won the Champions League last season and the Premier League this season. He concedes 0.6 fouls per match. He has a tackle success rate of 58% and a pass accuracy of 84%. He's just like Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's a fantastic attacking fullback. His main contributions for Liverpool's creativity are very high. He contributes a lot to the creativity of Jurgen Klopp's team. His tackle win rate of 58% is not that great, but his main contribution comes through 8 assists and 1 goal. He has provided 142 crosses for the attackers this season. He has a pass success rate of 84%, which is quite good, and he's a fantastic attacking right back. He has a fantastic engine. He can run for days. We can remember a game last season might be against Manchester City where he absolutely ran through Manchester City team. I think in that match Liverpool destroyed Manchester City. Now let's talk about the Brazilian defensive midfielder Fabinho. He came to Liverpool from Monaco for big money and he has proven himself as one of the best central defensive midfielders in the league. He's just 26 and can go on improving for the next 5 or 6 years, which is a great investment for Liverpool clearly. He has already scored 2 goals this season. Both have been amazing. One was scored against Manchester City from long range and he nearly beat it just 2 games ago, I think against Crystal Palace, where he absolutely shot it right on the corner. He has also given 2 assists. He takes 81 touches per match and has a pass accuracy of 87%. He wins 61% of his tackles, which is good considering the whole midfield is contributing in the defensive part of the game. He wins 60% of his aerial duels, which is okay considering he's not that big. He has a pass success rate of 87%, which is quite good, and plays 70 passes, which is nearly as equal to James Milner, which shows how many passes they play in midfield. The main job of the midfield is to take the ball forward to the front three of Salah, Mane and Fabinho, which they do pretty well, also contributing on the defensive part and not making too much space for the opposition attackers to attack. Fabinho has been a very important player for them. Now let's talk about Captain Fantastic, Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson was considered to be an average midfielder compared to past captains like Steven Gerrard, but he is the first Liverpool captain to win the Premier League in the Premier League era, which is a fantastic feat, plus the Champions League to go with it last season. He's been a very important part of the Liverpool team this season. He's even being tipped to win the PFA Player of the Year. He might be 30, but he's a very important player for the team. He's the captain. His importance can be seen by the fact that he's provided 5 assists and scored 3 goals. Quite a lot of creativity. He takes 90 touches per match and with a high pass accuracy of 85%. He wins 66% of his tackles, which also shows he has a fantastic tackle success rate, and also wins a lot of his aerial duels, which is 70% is very high for a central midfielder. His main contribution comes from the fact that he really moves the ball around well. He has a pass, he plays 75 passes per match. He touches the ball 90 times per match, which is a lot. He really conducts the team very well. He is also the leader who leads all the players quite well. Now let's talk about the Dutch midfielder Georginio Wijnaldum. He was signed from Newcastle after Newcastle was relegated. He's a player who can score important goals. This season he has scored 3 goals. The importance of his goals can be understood by the fact that last season against Barcelona he scored 2 goals in the comeback in which they won 4-3 on aggregate in the semi-finals of the Champions League. He takes 62 touches per match and has a high pass accuracy of 91%. His tackle success rate is quite average, 47%, good, bad, equal. Let's just say that way. He plays about 50 passes per match. He is more of a hard-working player who covers areas for the front three to play their game. Firmino, Salah and Mane. The midfield of Liverpool is mostly the defensive part of the game. They don't really provide too much creativity. The most creativity comes from the wings, from the wing backs like Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson. So the main task of the midfield is to cover the areas left by them, and Georginio Wijnaldum does it pretty well. Now let's talk about the English midfielder Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He transferred to Liverpool from Arsenal to become a midfielder, because at Arsenal he was not getting a chance to play in midfield. He wanted to play in his preferred position in midfield and even took a pay cut to play in that preferred position at Liverpool. Since coming to Liverpool, he has transformed absolutely. At Arsenal he was ineffective, let's just say, winger, but here he is a fantastic midfielder who has already won the Champions League as well as the Premier League now. He plays in central midfield, and last season against Manchester City he scored a fantastic goal in the Champions League from long range. This season he has scored 3 goals. He takes 65 passes per match with a pass accuracy of 84%. He wins 47% of his tackles, which is understandable considering he's not a pure midfielder from the start. He's not too big, so he wins quite less aerial duels than other of his midfield compatriots. He has a pass accuracy of 84%, but he looks to go forward more, due to which he only plays about 44 passes per match because he's more front of the pitch, trying to support the front three when he plays. He has scored 3 goals, but still he scores important goals like against Manchester City. He's an important player for a team right now. Now let's talk about the forward who covers everywhere for Liverpool, the Belgian striker Divock Origi. He scores important goals clearly, considering he scored against Barcelona last season and also scored, if you remember, a 90th minute winner against Everton last season after Jordan Pickford spilled the ball. So he clearly scores important goals, but he's not a great goal scorer. He's not a poacher type goal scorer either. He just covers up for the front three when someone needs a rest. He has scored 3 goals and probably 1 assist this season in the Prem. He has a shot accuracy of 56% only, which is not that good. He works hard for the team. He wins 73% of his tackles. He does not have too much aerial duel in it either. He doesn't score too many goals. He scores a goal every 210 minutes. Is quite low. He is more of a coverer, but he clearly scores important goals considering he won the tie against Barcelona with his goal. Now let's talk about Bobby Firmino. He is not a prolific goal scorer like other teams have as the number 9, but he is very important for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. He might be the most important player for them, even in the attacking sense, because his untiring work rate provides space for Salah and Mane to perform their magic. He has only scored 8 goals this season and provided 7 assists, but his role can't be undenied in this fantastic season. They have broken all types of records, and they are going to, in my opinion. He only has a shot accuracy of 55% and a pass accuracy of 80%. He plays more of a false 9 role, in which he drops inside and creates space for Salah and Mane. Still, he has performed really well. 15 goal involvements is not less at all. He has a pass accuracy of 80%, which is quite good. He scores a goal every 330 minutes, which is quite a lot for a striker, but then his role is very different from other strikers like Aguero and Kane in the Premier League. It is happening. He scores all types of goals, right foot, left foot, header goals, and important goals in my opinion. He doesn't score too many long shots, but his main role is to create space, and he does it pretty well. Now let's talk about the Egyptian right winger Mohamed Salah. He's one of the fan favorites at Liverpool and Egypt. He's a person who is fantastic in all parts of his game. He has scored 17 goals this season and has also provided 8 assists. He has a shot accuracy of 62%. He has a pass accuracy of 76% this season. He dribbles quite like Messi, not equal to Messi clearly, but his dribbling is pretty similar to Messi. He plays a limited amount of passes. He's more of a player who plays forward after Firmino creates space for him and Mane forward. He has scored a goal every 148 minutes this season, which is a very good rate for a winger. Clearly, he is one of the most important players in the team. He is wanted by both Real Madrid and Barcelona. He was said to be a flop at Chelsea, but now he's clearly shown that he's one of the best players in the world who can run absolutely like anything, and also has a fantastic left foot which can finish. Now let's talk about the Senegalese left winger Sadio Mane. He has scored 16 goals this season and also provided 7 assists for his teammates. He has shot accuracy of 52% and has pass accuracy of 81%. He was signed from Southampton for a moderate fee, let's say, considering his fee right now. He's a very good goal scorer and one of the most important players for Liverpool. He might be better than Salah right now even. He plays about 35 passes per match, which is okay for a player who is most known for scoring goals. He scores goal every 151 minutes, which is less than Salah, but he has played a lot more games against the big teams as well, due to which his rate might be less. He's clearly a very important player for a team. Like Salah, he's very quick, and the space created by Firmino is very useful for him. Salah and Mane are the main goal scorers for the team. They score a bucket load of goals for the team, and they cover up for the lack of goals from the striker and the midfield. They are one of the main reasons that this season Liverpool have absolutely romped through the whole league. Please like and share the video and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button for receiving notifications every time I post a new video.